Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my Valaris City of Starlight mug and my Resand hoodie from Mojo Provo. Very cute. I've been wanting this for a long time. Very fun. Just finally restocked it again. And today's video is going to be the Unpopular Opinion Book Tag 2.0. I think Elliot Brooks created the 2.0 version, but she's the video that I saw, so I wanted to go ahead and do this tag as well. I just think it's kind of a fun low-key video to talk about books with. So let's just get into it. Question 1 is a genre great you don't get the hype for. And for this, I'm going to kind of go into YA fantasy or romantasy. I just feel like I've read more of those. And one that I really don't get the hype for is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've read the first two, so I haven't read the last in that original trilogy yet, but I really don't get it. I don't understand the hype. Because like you see Jude and Carden like all over Bookstagram, all over like characters that they love and ships that they love, and I don't get it like at all. Like it was interesting. The ending of the second book I thought was interesting, but it's just like, why is everybody so obsessed, you know? Or I feel like a romantasy book, and this isn't necessarily a genre great because it's fairly newer, I feel like it's just got some hype behind it, is When the Moon Hatched. I don't really understand the hype for that book. I read it and was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't hate it, but I don't get the hype. So I feel like those two in particular. Question 2 is an adaptation you wish was never made. I don't really have an answer for this. I was trying to think and I can't really think of any. I think I liked the Shadow and Bone adaptation of season 1. Well, I liked that it was being adapted, right? I don't love the way they did it, so maybe that one, but like I don't wish they never did it because I like that it exists. So I struggle with this question, honestly, because even if it's not my favorite or not what I thought it was gonna be, I'm still kind of glad they did it, if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah, this one stumped me a little bit. I'm not really sure. So I don't know. I feel like in general, even if I didn't love it, I still appreciate that somebody tried to make it. Which I feel like most people have an answer for this, which is great. I just can't really think of one because I really love seeing things visually on the screen. So I just don't know. And again, like The Hobbit, I loved the book The Hobbit. And the movies were really disappointing for me because after like the first one, it really strays away from the story. But I really wanted to see The Hobbit. I wanted to see Smaug, and I got Smaug. So I don't know. There's just weird things like that. Do I wish it never happened? No. But I wish it was different. Maybe different is my niche in this question. Question 3 is a book or series you have to fight back your inner snob because you kind of think people just don't get it. For me, I think it could be a lot of different answers and a lot of the same books, but I'm trying to have like kind of different books for different answers. But I think one of them is definitely the Caraval trilogy. I feel like people sleep on this. I think people really love Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I get to a degree, but I love the Caraval trilogy more. And I feel like everyone else likes Once Upon a Broken Heart. And I'm just like, you don't get it. And it's not even like it's that deep. It's just that one was so magical and fun for me that I don't understand why people love Once Upon a Broken Heart more. Like, don't get me wrong. I also loved that trilogy. But I don't know why you like that one and not Caraval. So I feel like I really struggle with that. I'm like, what? But it's just so fun and there's fates and it's whimsical and you just don't get it. Like, I don't know. I think that one. I think other books I found myself doing that with like when they question something about the environment and the magic system and I'm like, you don't know. You don't get it. Like, this is why the magic system is the way it is. I'm sure of it and it's going to be revealed at some point. But I just feel like Caraval is so near and dear to me that it makes me sad when people don't like it, but it's also like, why don't you like it? So I don't know if that's necessarily my inner snob, but I just think it's really fun. Question 4 is a book or series you're tired of everyone hating on. Fourth Wing. The Empyrean series. I think, like, it's okay if you don't like books, right? I didn't love When the Moon Hatched, but a lot of people do. I didn't like The Cruel Prince, but a lot of people do. There's many books that I've read that are hyped or popular that I just didn't work for me, and that's okay. But straight up just hating on them to hate on them is so silly. Like, I've seen videos of people being like, Sarah J. Maas is ruining the fantasy genre. No, she's not. Writing one book series that blew up and is extremely successful and popular is not ruining the fantasy genre. It doesn't mean that Tolkien writing isn't going to exist anymore. And I love Lord of the Rings, and I also love ACOTAR, and I also love Fourth Wing. And I just think it's so silly for people to hate on things. And honestly, I almost fell into this because I thought, if I like ACOTAR and books like this, I'm not going to be taken seriously as a fantasy reader. And read it thinking, oh, I'm going to be too cool for this and I'm going to hate on it. And I ended up really loving it after I started the second book. So honestly, I feel like Fourth Wing and ACOTAR, I'm really tired of people hating on. Fourth Wing, I think I loved more than ACOTAR because it has dragons and it's more military-esque. And I just really, really like that genre and series and setting with the mythical creatures as well. And when I hear people just doing hate videos on it, it frustrates me so much. Because they'll be like, well, this is stupid, and it's like, it's a fantasy world. She's allowed to make the world however she wants. If you think the magic system is silly, or you think it should be explained more, go write your own book. If you're mad that there's like 3% romance in a whole book, get over yourself. It's not that serious. There's plenty of other things going on in the book with plot and politics and all kinds of stuff. It's just so silly. Or they'll be like, well, this was stupid and this was a stupid element of this book. And it's like, yeah, it's part of the magic system that you haven't understood or gotten to because you haven't continued and you just want to make fun of it. Maybe I'm a little bit of a snob about Fourth Wing. But like, why are you going to hate on things that people like? So, for instance, Name of the Wind, that series, that's not finished, the like 15-year-old main character, I don't know how old he is. I haven't read it. I'll be completely transparent on this. I have seen reviews and people talking about it. And he's like a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid that sleeps with a fairy, an immortal woman fairy. Nobody bats an eye. But Sarah J. Maas writes ACOTAR, debauchery, ruining the fantasy genre. Like, really? Really? Like, you don't see how crazy that is? Like, really? You don't see the similarity in that? That irks me. Let people read what they're going to read. Even Brandon Sanderson said, welcome them to the genre. Good grief. I'm going to get off that rant now. Question 5 is a book or series everyone thinks is really powerful, but you didn't connect with. I don't know about powerful. I was trying to think about this for a while. I'm not sure about a book that was really powerful. Possibly Circe by Madeline Miller, but I've talked about her in the past about Unpopular Opinions. I didn't love her books. Circe was written beautifully, and I liked Circe a lot more than Song of Achilles, but I don't think they're super powerful necessarily. I read Way of Kings, and I liked Way of Kings. I'm not trying to hate on Way of Kings and saying, like, it was the worst book ever and I hated it. No, like, I liked it, but I feel like I didn't connect with it as much as a lot of other people have. I felt like there's such a huge fan base and following and obsession with that series that I thought it would click book one. And I'm sure it does for a lot of people. But for me, I was just like, okay. Like, I'm waiting for that moment, And I didn't get it. Maybe it's because I haven't finished the series, Like, I don't know. I'm still going to read it. But that was kind of one that I was just waiting for it to hit me. And it just didn't. So maybe that one. Question 6 is a character you don't get the hype for. Aelin. I'm sorry, everyone. Selena, Aelin, don't get it. Do not get it. I will give you that I've only read the first 3 books, right? I never read Assassin's Blade, but the first 3 books. Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire. I don't get it. I hate her. I really dislike her, and she's the main character, which I think is why it's hard for me to read the books. People keep saying, you need to keep going, you need to read book 4, there's a lot more in the story. I'm gonna continue, okay? But, like, the following and hype for Aelin? Ooh, why? Why? I don't get it. I don't. Maybe I will someday, but today is not that day. Like, she's just so insufferable. Whoo! I know I'm about to make so many people mad. I'm so sorry. I just don't get it. I don't like her. Question 7 is a book or series everyone wants an adaptation for, but you don't. Again, this one's really hard for me because I feel like I tend to really like to see things visually and like to see things on the screen. So if you want to adapt it, I will watch it, pretty much. I think maybe Legends and Lattes. I feel like that one is just like better off as a book and could potentially be like ruined if it was turned into something. But even like Vicious by V.E. Schwab, it's my favorite book ever, right? And the idea of adapting it scares me because I don't want them to ruin it. But also I feel like it could be a really good animated show. So I don't know. But Legends and Lattes is my answer. And then the last question, question 8, is a book or series you think people have bias towards and don't really love or hate as much as they claim. Now, this is going to be grasping at straws a little bit for the love part, but for the hate part, I don't think people hate Fourth Wing like they think they do. I think it's popular to hate Fourth Wing and it's popular to hate ACOTAR. I'm sorry I'm using this again, but I have to. I think it's popular to hate those things, right? And there's almost this idea that if you dislike those things, you're more, like I said before, you're taken more seriously as a fantasy reader, and I think that's absolute nonsense. I don't think that's right or true, but I think there is kind of a stigma with that. And I think people just want to hate on it, so they pick it apart. But I feel like if you actually read it and enjoyed it, you don't hate it as much as you think you do. Because why are you continuing? Why are you reading the whole thing? Why are you finishing it? Unless you're just hate reading it, which is silly. So I think people don't hate that as much as they think they do. Or ACOTAR as much as they think they do. But I also think, and this is absolutely like, the books I'm going to talk about that I'm like, you couldn't possibly love that as much as you say you do, is because as I haven't read them, but I just didn't like things that I've heard about them, so obviously, like, I don't really know. Take that with a huge, like, tablespoon of salt. But I just don't think you could love The Name of the Wind like you think you do. Or Wheel of Time like you think you do. Maybe you do. I just think Wheel of Time is, like, insanely long. I like the show, okay. But even when John was, like, starting to read it, he was like, nothing has happened, and it's been so many pages, and they're just at this sheep festival. I just feel like you can't possibly love it as much as you say. And Name of the Wind, like, how are you... That's a really creepy setup with this, like, guy and this fairy. Like, I don't think you could possibly love this like you say you do. I don't know, man. I was trying to think of others that I've read, but I just couldn't think of any that I just didn't, like, absolutely hate, and it's not necessarily something that has a cult following. So, yeah. I don't know, I've never read it. Oh boy. Those were my random unpopular opinion thoughts on this tag. I would love to know some of your unpopular book opinions. Even if they contradict my own, I would love to hear them. Please leave it in a comment down below. But for now, that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.